This episode of Tasty Jamz is brought to you by Epic Inc. Music is an expression of art, and tattoos are no different. Epic Inc. is a custom tattoo shop located in the heart of Bristol, Tennessee. Visit their shop for a relaxed, friendly, clean environment where quality and detailed work is their #1 priority. Their friendly staff are excited to work with all different styles and designs. Epic Inc. is one of the most experienced piercers in the area as well, and they will be more than happy to assist you with your next body modification. Come down and talk to one of their experienced tattoo artists or piercers and start showing off your work. Welcome to Tasty Jamz, episode 4, and I have with me the Buddz. I'm joined today by Matt Smile and Scott Smile, and you guys are brothers, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
We've been brothers since I was born.
Oh, that's awesome. So, like, twins, or like, are you guys the same age?
No, he's the older bro. He's
okay.
3 years older.
Ah, so that's right.
He wasn't my brother when I was born.
Yeah, true.
Hell yeah. So, if you've been catching up with any of the episodes, you'll notice we've had a few of the different bands here, and I've actually had almost every single one of those bands. Every one of those bands have mentioned you guys.
That's
so,
awesome.
Matt Smile does a little bit of audio engineering, I believe.
Yes, sir. We actually both do. He's
Awesome.
a partner with me on our studio. It's called Buddz HQ. We dedicated it to our band because the band
Because
is
that's
what
where your
paid
band's
for it.
home is, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it makes totally sense. I would do the same thing.
The first project we did there was our latest album, Burn Down. We worked on it for a long time now, and that's kind of what got the whole thing started. We just weren't getting the right production in most local places that we were going. We'd have to go all the way to New Orleans to work with our buddy Dave Fortman to get the sound we wanted.
Yeah.
So we just said, you know what, let's buy our own studio, because it costs
yeah.
a lot to travel out there and pay those prices and stuff.
So you've got that knowledge in audio engineering. How long have you been doing audio engineering? Because I mean, I started playing guitar at a young age too, but I didn't start recording my stuff until like later on.
I mean, it started when like 2008 with Jim Bradley.
Yeah, we had a really good friend named Jim Bradley that let us come into his basement studio and just kind of, get the feel for it. And ever since then, we've been bitten by the production bug. We wanted to get on the other side of the mic, and we've been in and out of some really cool studios since then. And we've always said we're going to open a studio one day. Until in 2013, we just went for it.
Hell yeah! So how's it going for you? Like, especially being from a small town like Bristol, like. Is it difficult?
It's amazing. We can't find any free time because we're constantly booked solid. We've got too many people hitting us. We're about to open a second studio too, so I'm excited about it.
That second studio. I mean, that's crazy that you're gonna open not just one. And you guys are just gonna oversee production, or?
Well, actually, we're gonna run each studio. We're just gonna, I'm gonna be producing in one, he's gonna be producing in the other, and we'll kind
so
of
you can basically knock out double duty at once.
We'll come together on the big projects like we always do.
Oh yeah, I'd say you guys would probably be checking each other's stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Got to have that extra open, fresh set of ears to really hear stuff. I bring in all my friends, family, and everything. Just like, what do you think? And
it's good to have an outside ear, because you're making it for the consumer.
Yeah, exactly. It's it's definitely not. I mean, you can make it sound great, but if it only sounds great to you, it doesn't really stand out like you would think it would. So, yeah, I totally understand that for sure. So, as a band, you guys started in 2006, was it right?
Yeah.
2006. Believe it or not, we started out. Right? Yeah, we started out to do a talent show at Tennessee High. It was just like a fun little thing we did, and we learned "Sweet Child of Mine" by Guns N' Roses, and I put on the top hat, and he wore the bandana and did the axle shuffle, and it was pretty cool.
I bet you guys had a blast doing it.
It was fun, man. It was pandemonium in our high school though, because the teachers were getting trampled, the students were rushing the stage. There was about 600 uncontrollable students just freaking out.
I mean, that would be awesome.
It was our first rock star moment, and we were like, this is
what you want to do for the rest of your life. Yeah,
changed everything.
Yeah, you get that bug for playing, and that doesn't go away, man. Like,
it was
just because I don't have the opportunity to play, don't mean I don't fantasize about it. Because it's like, I want to get back to the stage, and start playing again. But one day.
I'm too stubborn to ever quit, man. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, it's a lifestyle. It's not just a hobby. I mean, it takes most of my time enjoying it from a consumer standpoint, and as an actual musician standpoint of playing, recording studios, shows. just jam with people. Oh, yeah, I do it a lot. That's pretty much what I do with all my free time that I have. Which
And there's
isn't
so many
much, but-
moments that you just get shot down, let down. You know, so many bad things can happen, but just that payoff from being on stage makes it all
Yeah,
worth
it's
it.
a struggle for sure, man.
There's so many good moments. Though.
It really
yeah,
are.
it's all worth it. It's just that
Yeah.
one moment, you know. Oh man, so what's your rehearsals normally like? I mean,
Hectic,
hectic.
but fun.
Okay. So
I'll
how
be
often
honest,
how
like-
often do you have rehearsals now?
At
'Cause I know
least
you-
once a week.
At least once a week?
always.
Okay.
You know, we
Mostly
try to
on
do-
Sundays, we just put a few hours aside. But the shows are where it all comes together. You'd think that the rehearsals are like, you know, just really intense, but we kind of just mess around and honestly worry about how good we're gonna sound until we hit that stage, and then it's like
Okay.
perfect.
We
you know?
always get off track together. See, we're always together, but off track together. So it's
So,
weird. It's
okay.
like we'll start into some cover that we've never played before, and just the next thing you know, we've been playing it for like 30 minutes.
And then we do like
Yeah.
a reggae version of some
Yeah.
song of our own that we
yeah,
just.
I noticed you guys like have a lot of different styles and stuff that you guys do. Every instrument I've seen you guys pick up or play, it's always like, you know, a different style of stuff. And I know 80s is a big, huge influence for me as well.
Oh, yeah.
And I notice a lot of 80s references out of a lot of the stuff you do. I mean, even like everything from your positioning on stage, man.
Yeah.
It's like I could tell you grew up watching VH1.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Most of our musical taste probably comes from my mom. I'll
Yeah,
tell you the truth.
she's the coolest. She took us to see our first show when I was in 2nd grade. He was in 5th, and we went and saw Kiss, Ted Nugent, and Skid Row, and it changed our lives.
Oh man, that's awesome.
was
My mom was
unreal.
always big into 80s rock too. She a lot of different stuff, but she was also into disco and other stuff like that.
That's
And,
my dad. He was the disco.
I couldn't do
dad.
the country thing either. It was never
He
never
did
my
the cool
flavor.
disco, though.
He did. I mean, he was
He
a
had
rocker
some really
too, but
cool
he
music
introduced us to the
shows,
Bee
too.
Gees and all that stuff. And we still we
Yeah.
do a rockin' version of "Staying Alive" when we play shows.
Oh, that's awesome. That's actually right, man. When I seen you guys at the VFW hall a little while back, actually I think it was like 2 or 3 years back. This is the first one that the VFW started doing again here recently at the bottom end. Yeah, you guys I think did one that night too. I'm pretty sure I actually
We do some off the wall stuff. I'm not gonna lie.
It was a lot of
It's
fun
fun.
though, man. Like there was nobody did not have a good time at one of your shows. It was pretty cool. And I think you're you know, instead of like death metal or any like niche audience, I think your music stretches out to a broad audience. It really
Yeah,
does.
we,
I mean,
we play with a lot of different bands too, like Arm the Witness. They're one of our good friends, and
Oh, yeah.
we've played a lot of gigs with them. We played with Big Mister. You had them on their show.
yeah,
or on this
both
show.
those all those both those bands are really cool guys. Like,
Yeah,
Very cool.
it's one thing.
And there's
like,
so many different
very
styles too.
talented.
It changes your
Both of
opinion a lot on music too when you personally get to know the band and everything. That's why it's kind of important for professionalism to be involved in music too. You know, 'cause
Absolutely.
if you're a bunch of douchebags and people know or find out that you're a bunch of douchebags, nobody's gonna like your band. You know,
That's
no matter
so
how good
true.
you sound, you're like, no, fuck them.
There's
Yeah.
been some great bands that are undeniably talented, but
Mm-hmm.
you're just like, oh, I wish that guy wasn't such a dick. You know?
Oh yeah.
It's
It
almost like
ruins
when
it.
we first started too in the music scene around here. We didn't know many of the bands, so we didn't know how much talent there was around here. And I don't know, just all the friends with the bands we've made lately. It's been pretty humbling too, just to know that we're not even close to the only thing out there.
Yeah.
You know, there's so much out here, so much good talent.
So really, like from when you guys first started, I guess with the Buddz or just jamming together in general,
Mm-hmm.
like how did your music evolve to what it is now? Like, I mean,
It used to be more of a competition than music, like for who could hit the highest note, and
That's
play
so
the
true.
fastest guitar lead,
Okay.
and the fastest drums, and it was just, and it kind of switched from that to being, how is this gonna make the band better? How is this gonna
Yeah.
make us better? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Instead of
yeah, I
making
mean,
me look
on the
better.
last show we actually 2 shows ago with On the Witness, we were talking about is it a competition when you're on stage, you know? And I try to really not think like that and try to push that, but in one sense it kind of is, you know. You want to either way, competition, no competition, battle of bands, or just a regular show. Even if you're the warm-up band, you need to be playing at your absolute best. I mean, you're not
I
going to
agree
have
with
every
that.
opportunity in the world to keep playing shows.
I agree with that to an extent, but what he meant earlier was that, like, before we were all sporadic, you know, trying to constantly be the best instead of having our moment where we sprinkle in some sick licks or sprinkle in some high notes. We were all constant 100. You know, we didn't let the song breathe. We weren't thinking about the overall
So you're
sound.
not, yeah. So when you're writing music, you need to think about the other person's instrument as well as your
Absolutely.
own, instead of being, I guess, selfish and trying to get your notes right.
Yeah.
That's actually, that's a really awesome advice. So I mean,
It's definitely important to have your moment and to let everything stand out in its own way, and just think about the overall picture instead of, your one individual instrumentation in that picture,
Yeah.
because it's all got to come together and mesh really well and make.
I did that. I've noticed that in audio engineering. When it comes to your EQ and everything, there's a jamming EQ, and then there's an EQ for letting out mix. Because when you're quad tracking,
Absolutely.
your cymbals will fight with your guitar, and you have to really kind of EQ each individual
the same thing, yeah.
to where they fit.
They all need to fall on their own bands of the EQ so that
Yeah.
you can hear everything individually. That's so true.
So, and writing's kind of like the same way. Just kinda-
Absolutely.
that's actually really cool advice. I like that. I mean, that's gives me a whole different perspective for like when I start writing. There's the traditional way where 5 guys get together in a room and sit there and write, as opposed to nowadays people are using Guitar Pro and a lot of the other software to write the music, or maybe 1 or 2 people might mix and record the whole song, and then the rest of the band just learns it. That happens more nowadays that I see. Is it necessary to be like that, or? how do
Well,
you guys write?
sometimes we've come together and written like the basic arrangement of songs, and then we'll show the band our ideas, and we'll come together with a jam session and
Then
just
re-record
kind of-
it later.
yeah,
after we all
re-record
write
it.
it together. But
rework the song together.
Yeah, it's because I think if I had to do it, I would I would actually probably write like my ideas, basically my riffs and everything like that, and then when you bring it to the other guys, restructure it for how it needs to be done. But maybe lose a riff or keep a riff or add something to it. Moving around, maybe a drum fill here. I like gaps in my music. I like gaps, especially for stuff for the drums and vocals to really shine, because those rock star moments is when those gaps are hitting. I mean,
Absolutely. This new album that we're working on, we just dropped this one not long ago, and we're already on the next one.
All right.
We've got 3 or 4 songs started, and about 3 of them are finished already, and we've got a lot of those moments with those gaps, and it's a different style than this album, even though this album has many different styles on it alone.
For anybody watching this, make sure to check the links below, because I'm going to have links to where you can hear this music from YouTube, Spotify. It's going to be down there, so check the links below if you want to hear the Buddz.
You'll love it.
And what is your ultimate goal as a band? Like, ultimate goal?
I mean, my goal when we started this has already been way surpassed. You know what I mean? I didn't expect to get anything we got out of it. At first I was saying if we ever get play on the radio, then I'll say I've made it. And then I was like, if we ever play in LA, I'll say I've made it. If we ever, if we ever open for a big band, I'll say I've made it. And, all those things have happened. If we ever work for a big producer, we've got to do all those things. Everything that I've ever wanted to do as a band, I've got to do. So
There's one thing that I really want to do, and I don't know, time is running out. I want to play with Kiss, and they have
Kiss,
because they're who I owe this to. I saw them, and they
the
just
shits.
changed our lives.
Where'd you
and
see them at?
It was at the Thompson Bowling Arena in Knoxville.
Oh, nice.
That was
That's
just the
close.
first time we
Yeah,
saw
it.
I go
It
all to
was
Chicago
unreal.
to see Kiss. So
I saw my first pair of boobies that night.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I was just
Like,
a little 8-year-old, and
I was always
boobies
had
on the big
when I was
screen.
younger and I grew up with Kiss. Like, I didn't much. I wasn't drawn to the music right away when I first seen them, but it was their imagery is what drew me to them, because I had parents that kind of looked down on like, oh no, it's Kiss, it's rock, it's the devil's music. Well, I was always really drawn to it, and the more I listened to it, the more I just started appreciating it, because I was like, at one time people thought this was our devil music that we think of today, because I listen to really heavy music a lot of times, and you get that all the time. It's the devil's music, but it's the same thing back in the 70s, From
we've yet to have parents picketing outside of our gigs. That'd be pretty cool. But
oh God, wouldn't that be lit, dude?
yeah, I've
maybe
seen,
someday.
I've seen a couple shows where there'd be protesters across the street and cops in the middle, and it's interesting, but it's not as common much anymore. I think more people are educated now than ever than they have been, and I guess for music's sake, it's
And there's too many people to protest if
Yeah.
you think things are too edgy, because I don't know, back in Kiss's day, who else was doing stuff like that?
yeah, there was nobody to target really. Now you'd
Yeah.
have to target like every town. Every town's gonna have some rock or metal band playing out there, and yeah, that's just how people are. So really, what did you guys do cover songs to get started, or was that
We've
an
always
option
have
for you
played
guys?
some covers, but we even started to branch out from originals, within the first year of us being a band.
Okay.
We've never really been a cover band except that talent show.
Okay.
That's all I would say, because we've always saw the big picture as just being someone that people want to cover.
Yeah.
And I love playing covers. I even do some acoustic gigs on the side just to play some covers and sing and keep my voice sharp, but
Yeah.
I don't see the progression and the longevity of the band to play covers unless you're doing a complete different spin on it and you're just trying to get your name out there. But when we release stuff, it's always original.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love doing covers, and it's so addicted to doing that. But, you know, at the end of the day, when it really keeps that motivation, it's like, do you really want to keep playing covers? Or because some people say that you have to have covers to even stay alive in a local scene nowadays. And I don't agree with that at all. I think
Maybe
you're
in
all
other
original.
local
It's if
scenes.
your material sucks, guess what? You're not going to be in the music scene very
Yeah.
long. If you got some good material, then you can play it. To me, it's almost like covers is a cop way out for
I
a lot of
agree.
people, but also understand it too, because there's a lot of covers. Fuck, I would love to perform live, you know. Like I'm a big Killswitch Engage fan, if you haven't noticed.
Their
And
cover of Holy
oh my
Diver was
God,
awesome.
Yeah, they did some awesome covers, and it was killer, you know. But it seems to, you know, Hollywood is recycling old film ideas. You know, it's been going on for a while now. They're just trying to recreate the old material because they're running out of new material, and now music seems to be doing the same thing with a lot of bands and getting their fame and fortune from a cover, and then they kind of get on the road. So it almost seems like a
Nostalgia
marketing
sells.
tactic.
Even bands that are established, like Disturbed, did a cover of
Mhm.
"Sound of Silence"
Oh,
by
yeah.
Simon and Garfunkel, and it blew up.
Oh yeah.
People just love that nostalgic feel.
Oh yeah, it seems like it's a marketing tactic nowadays to need to do that, and I don't disagree with it because I mean it's catchy, it catches on, it gets radio play most of the time if it's a radio hit, and just using that as a marketability standard in 2018 is taking advantage of the system, which is kind of a good thing. So it's awesome now that we can take advantage of stuff like that now, because you used to couldn't do that. To get something aired, you had to pay a lot of money for radio time and everything, and now through social media marketing you can obviously distribute and market your own band any which way you want, as much as you want, and there's no limit to it online. So as much content as you want can be out there pretty quickly. So you guys, what is the name of this album right here?
Burn Down.
Burn Down. Okay. So I'm going to play you guys a music video, and it's to a music video that they have called Crazy. I want you guys to check this out and then tell me what you think in the comments below.
Something's missing. Something's missing. Tell me what's wrong with your head. I've been listening. Are you listening? Did you hear what you just said? Are you alright? Alright. I'm never gonna get it. I'll never understand. I guess I'm just too simple to buy into your plan. You're a little bit crazy. You're a little bit crazy. I'm still listening. Something's missing.
So what'd you think of the video? Leave down the comments below, and yeah, if you got any questions for any of the other bands for future episodes, make sure to leave those in the comments as well. We might use them on future episodes. So alright, so what we're actually going to be talking about now is rock and metal production. So rock and metal production, if anybody listening to this does not know, this is the process of you getting your album or your EP, your first single, anything that you're doing to make a product for your the consumer to listen to. So how important is this? I'm going to say it's the most important. I would say it's the most important thing your band will ever do, because it is the lifelong representation of your band. You know, we're still, even today in 2018, listening to music from the 60s, the 70s, even older than that. Some people even listen to music from the 40s. And if you really think about it, they have not seen their shows. They have never been to their show. Most people, that the consumer does not even go to metal or rock concerts, or actually concerts in general. Most consumers only hear what they hear on the radio. So it's a direct representation, even from years to come, that people's going to hear of you. You know, so in my opinion, I think it is the most critical and needs to be the most precise, you know, track that you can give. I mean, everything from the emotion to the technicality to the play style, playing tight, how it's engineered, how it's mixed and mastered. There's so much that goes into rock and metal production. And so I'm with Matt Smile and Scott Smile, and they're gonna give us a couple little bits of information on what it's like in rock and metal production. So what would you suggest to a band that's getting ready to come into the studio? What's your, give me your top 5 tips.
Be open-minded to change and ready for
Absolutely.
pre-production, because pre-production might even be the most important part of it. Something when you bring the song to the table, and if you're trying to make it for radio and to get to a lot of consumers, you got to be ready to make it that commercial sound. You got to be ready to take what the producer says completely. You know what I mean? And not even question it most of the time.
And so another thing I'll hear a lot of bands say is, a lot of them will argue against that too, though, and say they don't want a commercial. They want to stay underground.
It depends on what type of band they are. If you're a band that's trying to be pushed to radio, then we'll make our suggestions for that. But we'll also just try new things. That's one thing that I really think is important, to just try out different methods of achieving that sound. Be patient, you know, be open-minded, like he said, regardless of whether you're going for radio or not. Just be willing to try different ways to achieve what you're going for.
All right. So having where you guys are brothers, you guys both put your opinions in on the mix, on the final mix and stuff. And I'd say that probably goes for tracking methods as well too. So you guys are always learning, you're always evolving. Do you guys ever butt heads on what you think?
From time to time.
Yeah, because it seems that everybody in music production has a different method. Even though they're very aligned, they're very similar, a lot of people use methods that are, I guess, non-industry standard and stuff like that.
We don't believe in doing other people's way. You know, we believe in finding our own way, and we do take elements of some of the producers we've had the pleasure of working with and kind of combine them to make our own little cocktail of, production. But I feel like when we've butted heads, we've always came to a compromise, because we'll always try each other's opinion. We're never just going to say no.
Be ready to admit you're wrong.
I like that.
Always.
I like that.
Always just give it a shot. The worst you can do is delete the track.
Yeah, and just have to
We've
do
got-
it again,
We're not using tape anymore.
reamping
So.
that's possible now too. So
When you're using analog, that tape's not cheap. So where we're doing digital, it's like, we've got unlimited takes. The only thing we're sacrificing is our time and sometimes our egos if we're wrong.
Oh yeah, I can see that, because egos in the metal industry, ego kills talent.
It's so true.
I've heard that many times, and yeah, I totally believe it. And it's like that, not just this industry, it's in the film industry. Anything where you're going to be working alongside of people that do the same thing that you do, and it makes it a competitive industry too, like we talked about earlier. But in the studio, it is very competitive, because you're fighting to get those millions of views. You're fighting to get your music out there, and nothing is going to get your music out there faster than good music. I mean,
It's so true.
making some good jams. I mean, there has been a lot of bands out there I've completely dismissed, swept under the rug, because their album EQ just wasn't quality. You couldn't really jam to it in the car, other than it just sounded like noise.
Some of those bands you're better off watching live.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh yeah, and then that was actually one of the bands I seen. Yeah, I didn't much care for their stuff, and I seen them live, and oh my god, it sounded so good. And I was like, I became a fan of them once I seen them live, but before that, I was just like, I can't do this. I mean,
When you were talking earlier about how it's the most important thing to have a really good production, I agree with that, because I feel like that's how you're going to get them to live shows. Like, you probably wouldn't have went out and seen them had you known they were on the bill.
I mean, the first thing I do, and if somebody told me the name of their band, I'm gonna look them up. The first thing, YouTube or
Yep.
wherever. You know,
Always.
I usually don't go to a particular website to listen to them, like a SoundCloud. I just usually get on Google or YouTube, and the
Yep.
first thing pops up is what I'm listening to, and you know, is that gonna be a song that you're comfortable with judging your whole band with? You know, so because a lot of people don't give bands a chance. There's thousands of bands out there, and who has time to listen to every one of them? So,
So
you know,
true.
because there's a lot of people, not just nationwide but worldwide. So, and you have the ability now to market to a worldwide audience with the use of social media. So, you know, why not make it the absolute best thing that you? Because people's gonna judge you. You know, people's gonna judge your music. I mean, it's either most people nowadays see black and white, so they think it's either great or it's shit. You know, I mean, a lot of people have that view.
That's
And
it.
there's people don't look at it deep enough. You know, I always try to look at stuff with a big, broad spectrum and open mind. So I'm like, wow, it's actually really good, but man, that singer, I feel like if he would do more, you know, cleans in this part, and then instead of screams in this part, I don't know, just structure around different ideas. When I listen to music, it's very analytical, it's very emotional, it's got me through a lot of hard times, and you know, I think if the bands that I'm listening to did not put that much effort into it, would that band have got me through that time? You know, it would have probably been another band, you know, and that's what music is great for, because it reaches you on a whole nother level. So yeah, production's my absolute biggest recommendation for wanting to take seriously. So in the same topic, a lot of bands obviously are discouraged by going to studios because they can't afford them. Is this actual true? Like, how much does studio cost nowadays, and is it affordable?
It depends on how much time it takes to do the project. If you come prepared, some people come to my studio and they've not even written what they're doing. They're just kind of, you know, they have an idea in mind.
Yeah.
But some bands come through and they're on point and they're ready to go and they can be in and out. You know,
One take everything.
It's
Damn.
amazing. So it depends on how prepared you are and what studio you're wanting to go to, and if the producer's willing to work with you on rates.
Okay,
and
so
everything.
how would you, I got a band, come into your studio, we got everything written, our songs are down, we've played a lot of shows, it's time to actually get an EP or a demo out now, and just an EP or demo, not a full album. Alright, because most bands usually, they're not going to put the budget into getting the full album until they can at least get one right. Because it seems more logical to buy one song at a time in that early phase, just so you can have one or two songs to show people. How is EPs and demos going as far as jumping straight into producing a full album? Do you think they should do that, or do you think they should just skip the whole EP thing?
These days, singles are what sells more than anything, it seems like.
You might
you
not
know?
even ever need to make a full length.
Like when we
Oh,
did
wow.
our first single in the studio, the very first thing we put out as a band in our studio with our own production team,
Bring
it
Me
got
Down.
over 1 million views. And it was just, that's all it took. And the next thing we know, we're headlining the Whiskey A Go Go in Los Angeles.
Hell yeah, dude. That's
Playing some kick-ass
yeah,
venues.
that's pretty much with one
with
video,
one single.
One
so
single.
if you put enough work and enough time into that one project, I feel like it could be the thing that defines you and keeps you going.
Hell yeah. You heard the tips from the Buddz. So, yeah. Yeah, I never thought that a single or EP could actually blow up like that. So that's one of the things I've never even thought of just making one really super good song. I like writing music, and
We just like
putting
giving the
it all into one
fans
song
a
is
lot
kinda-
of content. We consider the fans more than the strategy,
Okay.
because they're what's important. They're what's going to keep us doing what we do. Because if nobody shows up to our shows, you know, we're not going to be happy. We're not going to want to keep
Yeah.
playing. But where
Nobody is.
we play these big gigs and they all come out and support us and they're singing every word to our songs, it makes it unbeatable, and we can't stop doing it. We owe the
Yep.
fans.
I can believe that, because yeah, every show I go to, it's just like it's a huge family. It really is. Like you see like these battle vests that me and my friend wear, and like you go to a Killswitch show and all of a sudden there's 1,000 battle vests, and it's like or 2,000 battle vest, or if you're at a metal festival, 50, 60,000.
Wow.
Bigger than stuff like that. That's a lot of black t-shirts and battle vests. So it was like, yeah, I mean, and it really just shows because everybody's prideful about the music and everything. And when you're prideful about something, it's like you feel a sense of ownership to that band, and you're just like, and when that band doesn't do something that you like, or they go a different direction or something like that, that's when you get certain fans that start getting mad, because we've all heard the classic story, they're not as good as they used to be. So when bands over time evolve over the years of touring and stuff like that, their albums obviously change, and there's lots of different set reasons from that. But do you think really like metal and rock and metal production itself has changed a lot since the metal started?
I feel like it's changing every day. People are discovering new ways to produce, to like mic guitars, to track vocals, and they're coming up with new awesome plugins and amps and techniques, and I just love the way it's going. People say music's getting worse and musicianship is getting worse, but as far as production, I feel like it's getting better than ever. There's just so many things we can use at our disposal.
And the only reason he says that about musicianship getting worse is because, I mean, bands used to have to get that perfect take on everything, right? Then even if you even go far enough back, they all had to do it at the same time, singer included,
Yeah.
And people nowadays couldn't do that no matter how hard they try. Even the most famous, best bands out couldn't do it.
And the producers had to find a way to make everything cut through in one room.
Oh,
and
wow.
EQ it all at the same time in the board.
Like that. I always thought, obviously it was like harder to do it like that, but I've never had the experience to mess with tape or
I haven't done it
EQ
myself,
everything all at once.
but I know some talented people that do that, and they are brilliant. They're a different breed.
So yeah, that makes a whole
And they're
lot of
normally
sense.
old as shit too. But
The old school people, when it comes to the old school analog people, they are very knowledgeable about a lot of stuff that I don't even understand.
We haven't got to do as much analog as we want
when it
to.
comes to cycling certain stuff to the preamp, to like this compressor back to the preamp, and then out the this to the tape recorder, then right through the mixer, and then to the tape recorder. It's a really big headache,
and once you write that tape, you can't undo it. You can't
yeah.
auto tune it. You can't do all that stuff. It's
and
set
you
in
still
stone.
they still had to use digital audio workstations too, but they were whole different mess. And we have it really easy to get cheap demos and cheap EPs. And I think that's why we hear why a lot of people say music's gone downhill, because, well, to be honest, they're cheaply produced shit coming out on the radio all the time.
It's very true.
I mean, anybody can make something in the bedroom and then record the band, and I love that, and I'm so glad we had the freedom to do that. But when you got dipshit and bozo putting out death metal or grindcore tracks that are just all drum machine and chugga
Made on
garage
GarageBand on their tablet, like that's not real.
Yeah, it's like, come on now, you gotta step it up.
I mean, sometimes people get lucky in their garage and make something that's
and that's why I'm a huge supporter of it right now, is simply because you have that freedom to do that. But just most of your bedroom studio mixes are not going to be able to compete with the studio and a lot of knowledge to go to it. So what I'm basically saying is, don't half-ass your productions. If you are going to do it, don't, just because you're proud of it does not mean it is ready to show. But let your friends hear it, let all the people you want hear it. But if you got a shitty sounding record, you need to be aware of that, and aware that, this is just only demo quality, something, and put something on there that says demo or demo quality or rough track or rough mix or something like that. That way people don't judge you as hard, because people do. You get on Spotify and look up the special mixes, and God, man, people flip out over shit like that.
I normally
Well, the
don't
music
release
snobs now.
anything like that. We make sure it's refined and
You gotta have
ready
a
to
sense
go.
of quality control.
Oh yeah.
In it, really. So,
closest
all right.
to that would use a live something.
So,
Yeah.
speaking of DAWs, Logic, Pro Tools, or Reaper, that's usually the main three.
I use
Big ones.
Persona Studio
Persona
One,
Studio One.
and I
Okay.
have a bunch of different plugins that are my go-tos.
Okay. So, does Personas use like AUs, VSTs, or
It uses
RTAS?
all of the above. It's amazing.
So even
It's-
RTAS files?
It has I'm mainly using VSTs.
Okay.
It's
Most mine's VSTs as well.
to be honest, most of those programs do, anything you need it to. It's just a matter of which workflow you're good with, what you prefer, and
The ease of access is why I like Persona so
Oh, is
much.
it?
Everything's just right there, laid out, simple. I mean, it's pretty simple in
But it
You know,
has
Pro
the
Tools and
complexity
stuff,
that
too.
any of the other programs have.
I've never had any luck with Pro Tools because simply most of my computers wouldn't run it for some reason. Try to install things ways and
The
backwards.
new
and I would
Pro
get it to run,
Tools
and it
is
would
like
just
a
crash
video and audio DAW, and I'm not
you
crazy
don't
about
need
that.
I'm not using Pro Tools to edit video.
There's
at
so
all.
many
Nobody
better.
does. I mean,
There's so many better
they're
programs
using Adobe
out there.
Premiere. The reason they would
Yeah.
use Pro Tools to edit video is because they're composing to it.
Yeah.
Because you're actually recording audio, but you just need a little video window to sync it and time it. And that's
But
pretty much.
Can't you do that?
You can do
with
that in
Premiere?
you can do it in Logic. In Premiere, you can EQ the audio, move stuff around. But as far as composing like a symphony orchestra inside of it, no, it's not.
See, I would just line it up
They
while
have
watching
Adobe
it.
Audition that does that, so it's
Yeah.
still by Adobe. And yeah, Logic. Now Logic, I'm very impressed with as far as it's very easy to use. It is very fast, solid. I haven't had it crash once. I've ran like 16 tracks simultaneously on it. I have not crashed yet. And great.
Presonus is the same
But
way.
the thing about Logic that I don't like is the fact that when I right click on something, I want some options. Give me
Oh, they don't do
some
that?
no, you'll have like a handful. But it's like, man, I just want to be able to, if I need to put something here, I should be able to right click there and find it. Instead of having to really compose and make a subsequence or anything like that. It's a little
It's
bit
really
of
just whatever you're comfortable with, because all those top DAWs do the same thing.
okay. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I guess because it's like a big battle right now, and everybody, oh shit, well this wasn't recorded on Pro Tools. This shit sucks. It's like
Just don't get a cheap one. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Oh hell, like Reaper's free, and well, not free. It is free, but it's it's a trial. But it's
I've heard
a lot of people
people-
use that trial for a long time, and eventually, like when you want it to get all the updates and get everything you need to, just it's
Wow.
not expensive.
I've
at
heard
all.
people like call me up and be like, "Do you use Pro Tools?" And I'll say, "No, I don't. I use Persona Studio One," and they don't even. They're like, "Okay, well, never mind. Thank you. Have a nice day." I'm just
Really?
like, they don't
Oh,
even
man.
know. I achieve amazing sound with Studio One. I don't see why anyone would knock any of them, because there's been major label projects released through all of these DAWs, and
Yeah.
I just I
So,
feel like
um,
it's the person
On
controlling it. more
drummers,
than-
right? So you get real drums versus Superior's drummer, easy drummer. You know the whole topic of it. My opinion on it is, if you are on a budget, typically time is money in the studio. It is mostly a lot faster to use Superior drummer or easy drummer and stuff like that.
That's
Usually
true.
some people will hit the easy drummer, put the MIDI maps for the grooves, and then put them into Superior drummer. But Superior drummer 3 now has grooves in it. So
I've
it's-
got one for you that I think you'll really love.
Okay.
It's called Steven Slate drums.
Steven Slate.
It's amazing.
I have not heard
It's
of it.
unreal for metal
Check it.
drums. For
Okay.
metal rock and roll drums, I feel like Steven Slate is
Yeah.
the go-to.
And the reason I use Superior Drummer over Easy Drummer was simply because I had 24-bit out. Now they got 32-bit out, and you were really able to customize anything and everything in it. Well, not an Easy Drummer, but Superior Drummer. And but it was kind of hefty and kind of expensive that way. But if your producers own it, they know how to. You can get a drum mix turnaround within hours, as opposed
yeah.
to the time it takes up to set up and properly mic and EQ each part of the kit.
Everything we did on our album is 100% live drums, by the
Yeah.
way. Yeah, we do all of
And
our own projects are
I'm a-
live.
Yeah, because I'm a huge
Yeah.
fan of using live drums, and I love live drum recordings. I think there's to me, there's a big difference. I mean, to a ear that's listening and knows to listen for it,
Absolutely.
it's
You can always
Tell
tell the
difference.
difference. Even if it's a MIDI piano or a real piano, you can always tell the difference.
yeah. But I think so. For you, what's your approach to recording drums if they don't have?
big drum room, big drum sound. That's
Okay.
what I think.
And even sometimes putting samples over top of it.
Yeah,
with-
we'll
over
layer
top of
in
the real
samples
drums.
with
Yeah.
with the drums. We'll do like your typical mic setup with 2 overheads, mic everything in directional, 57 on the snare, 57 under the snare,
Yeah.
and we'll go through, and like I said, you got to have a big drum room to
Yeah.
start out with, but still have it treated good without too much reverb. You just want to get a lot of room sound too. So I normally set up a room mic, and then once we get a good take out of the drummer, I'll time stretch everything to be perfect on the grid,
Okay.
which is like, it's normally just little adjustments here and there, but I do it so that it's 100% perfect on the click track.
Because a lot of people just want to crop that part out and move it, but the bleed on it
Yeah.
to match up with the other mics.
What you do is you group every track together,
Okay.
and then you detect transients, which makes like lines appear on every hit, And when you
Okay.
drag one thing and it's grouped together, it drags everything together.
That's actually really awesome.
Yeah, and then you layer in samples. Like just pick the snare track, pick the kick track, and the
Saved you from
toms.
doing 1,000 takes.
But as far as
Yeah.
hi-hats and cymbals and everything, it's all 100% live. And so are the actual snare and velocities and the kick
So,
velocities.
On
and all
a
that stuff.
song, usually how many times do you have to get the drummer to play that song? To get
Oh,
Depends
that's
on
Brandon?
depends on the drummer. Our drummer, he
Once.
does it in one take because we normally come practiced and just
Yeah.
ready to go.
So you're just ready to go. It
Yeah.
depends
He
on
just
how
rips
precise your
through it.
drummer is. Okay.
I'm not saying he's never done multiple takes,
Yeah.
but
Usually
most of the
it's
time,
one.
most of the time he just runs through it because he gets it perfect before he even gets in there.
So yeah, it seems like you got all the different VST programs that everybody talks about that it's used today to modernize that. It's a digital signal instead of analog, but it's proven to be almost just as effective as an analog signal nowadays. So what is really the hardest part about audio production? Is it like the mix and mastering, or is it the production, or which one you think is more important?
I'd say the recording part and getting it right is the hardest part to do most of the time, especially, when people come in ill-prepared.
I definitely agree. Yeah, you got to get that right take. That's the most important because you can't polish a turd. That's what they say.
Yes.
I have to agree.
It's still a turd, okay, man? I mean, no matter how many, things they come out with to fix voices and to, try to manipulate guitar tones and
Yeah.
fake drums and all that stuff. I don't think, I think the most important part is just having the initial talent to create and
Yeah.
to, come
I
up
have
with
to agree
something
on that
good.
one
If you don't have
wholeheartedly.
that, then might as well quit.
Even when you're using Melodyne or an auto-tune or anything like that, if you don't get it damn close, they're going to know you use that shit.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
I hear that a lot. I can tell when something's usually pitch
Yeah.
correct. Even in rock and metal, it's just, yeah. I mean,
It's
if
overdone
You're
these
singing
days.
perfect every time, then you just know better. I mean, you could even see it on the wavelength. It's like when the wavelength just goes here and holds, and it's like back down. It doesn't even move, and it's like, yeah, come on. But yeah. So I wanted to take this time and tell you guys, or actually let you guys speak a little bit about your album. So when did this album come out?
We dropped it April the 20th. It was coincidence that it happened to be 420 and we're the Buddz, though. Just want to put that out there. Straight coincidence. Yeah, we dropped it on 420, and since then we've been doing really well on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, all that stuff. And
Nice.
we're proud of it because we worked with our good friend Dave Fortman. He produced Slipknot, All Hope Is Gone. He
Oh,
did
wow.
Evanescence's first 2 albums. He's done Godsmack's, two of Godsmack's latest albums, not their very last one. They went with
Yeah.
the metal producer to do that one.
Oh, wow.
But he also played in the band Ugly Kid Joe, and he's worked with Mudvayne, a lot of big bands like,
Yeah.
what was the other one? Blind Melon. He's done a lot of cool bands like that. He's a really,
Shit, yeah.
really good guy too, and he's just fun to work with. He sees our vision, doesn't try to change it, tries to add to it,
Yeah.
And we had Ted Jensen master it, and he's the best mastering engineer
The
on the
master
planet.
of masters.
I'm telling you, man.
Nice.
If you look up his stuff, his credits
what was
go
it called
on and
one more
on.
time?
Ted Jensen from Sterling Sound, and the album's
Okay.
called Burn Down.
Pretty much
But,
anything you hear on the radio is
He
Ted
did
Jensen.
some of my favorite albums like Welcome to the Black Parade and
Mm-hmm.
American Idiot and some other big stuff like
Oh,
that.
nice.
He's just badass, man. Does every genre, and we're really proud of it. We actually produced it ourselves alongside them.
So how much time do you think went into that album?
Years of work, man. I'll be honest, we dropped some singles throughout the process, but the whole album took over 3 years to finish.
Oh wow.
And
Was
a
it
lot
just
of
like a steady project over time that eventually just kind of?
yeah, we were
Yeah.
we were touring a lot, we were playing a lot of gigs, we were working our day jobs, honestly.
Yeah.
And once we hit Bring Me Down, a lot of that changed. We started just
Yeah.
recording and playing full time, and
Oh, yeah.
we've been lucky. But a lot of it was writing. We'd write another song that we'd be like, no, I want this on the album, and we'd throw out some of the other tracks. So this album's lineup originally was a lot different. We weren't even gonna call it Burn Down because that wasn't even a song we'd written.
Yeah.
And it just all changed in the 3 years. We'd grown a lot as musicians and been through a lot together, and the album just wrote itself over time.
Yeah, that's. I could see. I don't know. That would seem like. How would I put it, man? That would seem like a dream to really have that much time to put into an album.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, with everything with production and money and financing and just real life problems of money, it seems like every album is rushed anymore. They're really just kind of rushed to get in and out as fast as you can, get it a week, 2 weeks, a couple months. and
Yeah,
just kind of pop it
we're
out.
also lucky because the fans were so patient with us because we made them wait way too long. We don't want to do that to them again, even though we don't want to rush it. We're already, like we said earlier, we're already working on the next album.
Right.
We've got close to about, I'd say, like 30% done, and
Oh,
it
nice.
sounds really good. I think they're going to like it a lot. Not sure about a release date with that yet because we're going to do a few tours to promote this and just kind of let it
Yeah.
get out there
Yeah,
more.
you guys have any like future singles that's getting ready to come
We
out?
have Home Is On My Mind just got pushed to radio.
Oh, nice.
So-
Yeah, I actually listened to that earlier. That
We're
was
happy about that.
very impressive.
For a new single, we're about to have some new singles come out, but I mean, one main single we're about to come out with soon goes with our comic book.
Yep.
We're thinking of releasing an issue, a digital version of it as a music video. Even that could be cool. You know, we're still kind of on the drawing board about that. We got the next issue ready to come out, but we're most likely going to release a single with it. It's Battle Cry, but it's something that we don't really want to show the fans yet. We'll
Yeah.
get into that later.
It's gonna take some time. We're thinking about getting in with another big producer that we've already, or that we haven't had a chance to work with yet,
Oh, nice.
to
So you think about
re-record
actually
this.
changing it instead of doing it all yourself?
We have the whole. We're planning on recording the whole album ourselves, but we're thinking about just branching out and kind of learning from another
Yeah.
mentor because you can never learn enough.
And at the same time, like we said earlier, pre-production is the most important thing. And if we can get somebody who's got Grammys, you know, to tell us what we need to change about our song before we finish it, then we're going to do it every time.
We've got a few people in the works. We don't want to say it yet because it's
Yeah.
not settled yet, but we've
Okay.
got some pretty amazing people we're reaching out to right now, trying to make some big things happen.
Hell yeah, man. So, thank you for watching the episode 4 of Tasty Jamz. Make sure to subscribe below. Leave comments for future questions. I will hopefully air them on the show. If you have anything that you want to ask any of the bands here, please leave that in the comments below. I mean, it's really important. We want to know what questions other people want to hear on the show. But don't leave just yet. I got a special little treat for you.
Not taking sides, won't speak my mind. If you disagree, don't look at me, I don't have time. I don't care how, don't tell me why, 'cause if you long to do them wrong, how are you right? Keep it in your head until you're dead, 'cause some things are better left unsaid. So keep it in your head, your head, your head. No one cares, keep it in your head. 'Cause if it's not affecting me, then it remains inside my brain, it never leaves. And no, it won't pollute my mind. It couldn't eat away at me, I'll be just fine. So keep it in your head until you're dead, 'cause some things are better left unsaid. So keep it in your head, your head, your head. No one cares, keep it in your head. Keep it in your head. Keep it in your head. In your head. In your head. Your head, your head, your head. Keep it in your head until you're dead, 'cause some things are better left unsaid. So keep it in your head, your head, your head. No one cares, keep it in your head. Keep it in your head. In your head. Yeah, your head, your head, your head. Ow! Hey guys.
Thank you for watching Tasty Jamz. If you like what you see, please feel free to check out the other episodes and subscribe. It helps us out, helps the other bands out, and our partners here at Quantum Ascension Studios. And remember, keep on jamming.
And he said, play the best song in the world, or I'll eat your souls.
So me and my brother Scotty,
That's still me.
we both looked at each other, and we each said, okay. And we played the first thing that came to our heads, and it just so happened to be the best song in the world. It was the best song in the world. Look into my eyes and continue to see 1 and 1 make 2, 2 and 1 make 3. It was destiny. Once every 100,000 years or so, and the sun does shine and the moon does glow and the grass does grow.
Needless to say, the beast was stunned. Whip crackling is what we tell, and the beast was done. He asked us, "May your angels?" And we said, "Nay, we are but men." Rock. Whoa, whoa, I-oh. This is not the greatest song in the world now. This is just a tribute. I couldn't remember the greatest song in the world now. This is a tribute, oh, to the greatest song in the world. Alright, what's the greatest song in the world? Alright, to the fucking best, the motherfucking greatest song in the world. Song, yeah.